40 years ago, the village of Barneveld was rocked by a massive F5 tornado that killed 9 people and destroyed more than 90 homes. One of the reasons the storm was so deadly is because it struck at nearly 1 o'clock in the morning when most people were in bed. Early warning technology was also less advanced in 1984. No internet, no cell phones. Even TV stations like this one shut down after the 10 o'clock show. News 8 Now Chief Meteorologist Greg Barnhart shows us the impact the storm had not only on the lives of those in its path, but on the way we prepare for severe weather today. Greg.
Yeah, Ken, F5 tornadoes are rare in Wisconsin. We've only had 3 touchdowns since the National Weather Service began counting. The tornado that hit Barneveld in 1984 shocked residents, as many believe the terrain would protect them from such a disaster.
CBS News, this is Judy Muller.
The buildings that are left are destroyed beyond belief. It looks like they've burned.
Drive through Barneveld and you'll see few signs of the disaster that struck here nearly 40 years ago. They've done a good job rebuilding over the years, but no one here has forgotten.
I was planning to go to a wedding in Minnesota the next day, so I was doing things to be prepared for that.
The folks who call rural Wisconsin home are no strangers to severe weather. Most new storms would hit at some point that day. It was night they weren't prepared for.
You knew a storm was coming, but we had never thought it would be a tornado.
I bought the place in March and go away in June.
Al Wright, a local EMT, was driving home from Madison after transporting a patient. Fortunately, he missed the tornado, but did run into the damage.
And our dispatch says, where are you? And I told him where we were, and you coming back from a call, like that. And he says, get back to town, your town's been destroyed.
By sunrise, the toll was becoming apparent. 9 dead, nearly 200 wounded. 90% of the town was destroyed. For Al Wright, time came to a stop.
It'll never be plugged in again.
This would be Jimmy Myers, his
mother
and father.
Keith Hurlbut credits luck for keeping him and his family alive.
We didn't have air conditioning. We had a ceiling fan in the living room, so we decided to unfold the hide-a-bed and sleep in the living room, the ceiling fan. After the tornado, when we left my boy's bedroom and walked down the hall, we walked by our bedroom door, and our neighbor's car was through the wall and in our bedrooms.
Others weren't so lucky.
I had a cousin, his wife, and their daughter, all 3 killed, and then the one son was paralyzed.
In the days that followed, folks came from across the Midwest to help the survivors.
The world reached out to us, and they truly, truly did.
Meteorologists came to study the tornado itself, to determine its place on the Fujita scale. The scale was developed by Dr. Ted Fujita to determine strength of the tornado based on its destruction. To make matters worse, it was a fast-moving tornado, estimated at moving over 60 miles per hour. Still, one thing remained standing.
It was empty at the time. It was going through maintenance.
Village board member Mike Peterson hopes to rebuild the memorial that once stood in the heart of the city, commemorating those who lost their lives that terrible Friday in 1984.
So our goal is to raise $500,000, and we're at about $126,000.
In the years that followed, the science of predicting deadly storms has improved. Advancements in Doppler radar, satellite imagery have given us more advanced warning. We're also better at recovering from disaster events, thanks to the efforts of those who stayed behind and picked up the pieces.
That's probably what made me decide to join the fire department in the fall, and proceed down the path towards becoming an emergency manager.
Now, the F scale was improved in 2007 and is now called the Enhanced Fujita Scale, or EF for short, such as we had EF1 tornadoes at Rolling Stone, Minnesota yesterday, and several other ones. Finally, an interesting note, a unique note, Miller Lite made a commercial about Barneveld, about the village resolve in building efforts. It aired in April of 1986, and if you look on YouTube, you can definitely find it. It's an interesting piece to see from that day.